Did Jackie Kennedy have an affair with Bobby Kennedy? I don't know and honestly don't want to know. Since these relations, even if they took place, apparently had no bearings on politics, I would treat that info like the usual celebrity gossips. I firmly believe celebs' private lives, per se, don't deserve our attention. In addition, John looked much more like a man compared to his younger brother, and it is hard to believe his wife would have preferred Bobby. Back then, women were looking for manhood. Contrary to that, Marilyn Monroe's affairs with both brothers, if those rumors are true, seem to be more consequential. Pretty likely, John became a president because he sold her out to the 7 mafia leaders, in exchange for their support of his candidacy. As a result of that alleged gang rape, mostly as she was betrayed by a man she loved, she reportedly became a drug addict. And then she died, allegedly from the overdose or even worse. According to one of the Soviet intelligence's major versions, John's assassination was organized by a person, rich and powerful, who felt for Marilyn, blamed Kennedys for her demise, and hated their immorality. Somebody of the Howard Hughes stature. They believed that if the government was involved, there would have been multiple leaks. I learned about that theory during the window of openness in the 90s. The version of the USSR wanting to kill John doesn't fly. There was no love lost, but they always preferred to deal with unexperienced U.S. presidents to political foxes like LBJ. Robert Francis Kennedy somehow escaped the horrible legacy that Joseph P. Kennedy imparted to 3 of his sons. I think John Kennedy was a highly intelligent, able statesman, who made a good president, but whose father never instilled in him the values and virtues of controlling his sex drive. Robert was the one of the 4 brothers who adopted his mother's more serious dedication to her faith. He was faithful to his wife, and with a double-digit number of children, it appears he didn't have to go outside the home to find sexual fulfillment. Bobby Kennedy did not drink, smoke, or cheat on his wife, and as a result, was probably the best potential president of the 4 Kennedy brothers. His integrity made for a slippery surface that was hard to grab hold of. No one could blackmail him or influence him unjustly. It is a shame that he did not get a chance to occupy the Oval Office. President Kennedy was the only one in that marriage who was unfaithful to his wedding vows. President Kennedy was the only one who was an unfaithful spouse. When Senator and presidential candidate Robert Francis Kennedy was slain by the bullet of an assassin, Jacqueline Kennedy became frantic. There was only one reason Jackie married shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis. He didn't live in the United States. When Senator Kennedy was assassinated, less than 3 years after President Kennedy, Jackie became frantic for the safety of her young children. I have to get my children out of here. My God, they're killing Kennedys in this country. And Onassis provided Jackie and her children with all the safety they desperately needed from nuts with a gun. There has never even been a hint of gossip Senator Kennedy had an affair with the president's widow. Robert Kennedy assumed the role of a father figure in the lives of the president's children. Please be assured, not every relationship between a man and a woman is begun at the tug of a zipper. According to David Heyman in his book Bobby and Jackie, A Love Story, they did. The book alleges that the relationship grew so intense that when Robert Kennedy was assassinated in 1968, it was Jackie, not his wife, who told doctors to turn off the life support. Heyman says the accounts are based on the recollections of a clutch of Kennedy confidants including Gore Vidal, Truman Capote, Pierre Salinger and Arthur Schlesinger. But Salinger, Kennedy's press secretary, has dismissed the account as bullshit, while Heyman's critics say he has been caught making egregious errors in previous books and even accused of fabricating material. Heyman quotes Mary Harrington, a well-known socialite of the time, as saying she saw Bobby Kennedy fondling his widowed sister-in-law at the Kennedys' Palm Beach estate at Christmas 1964. As they began to kiss, he placed one hand on her breast and the other inside of her bikini bottom. Harrington, who also had an affair with Bobby Kennedy, is quoted as saying, "I was shocked. It was clear that Bobby was sleeping with his sister-in-law." But Kennedy experts are deriding the allegations. It's a new low, and you just wonder how far people are willing to go, Lawrence Leamer, author of 3 books about the Kennedys, told the New York Daily News. Heyman, who is frequently described as eccentric, has a mixed record. His publisher was forced to pulp a first edition of a biography of Woolworth heiress Barbara Hutton after a Beverly Hills doctor, who the writer accused of overprescribing drugs for Hutton, pointed out that he was 14 years old at the time of the alleged incident. The Manhattan District Attorney investigated Heyman for fraud over allegations that the Hutton diaries on which much of the book was based were fake. None of which stopped the book from becoming a bestseller. Heyman also drew skepticism when he appeared on the front of newspapers and on television a decade ago claiming to have been drinking with JFK's son, John, shortly before he was killed in a plane crash. Critics questioned whether John Kennedy would have been friendly with the author who wrote a scandalous biography of his father, and the bar owner said Kennedy had not been there for 2 years.